Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Exchanging Ideas 54 Global 5G Evolution. I'm Kanishwaran Govindasamy, the founder of Global 5G Evolution. A warm welcome to the speakers from all around the world. Thank you so much for joining us. To the audience, please take a couple of seconds to click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Today's topic that I would like to present is the key to wireless revolution is adaptive intelligence. Before that, towards the end of this session, there will be a Q&A for 10 minutes or more, depending on how interactive will be among the speakers. And the question that has been posed here is, how do you envision the role of AI in shaping the evolution of future generation networks like 6G? What are the key technological advancements that will be driven by AI? Now, to the topic, this is a Qualcomm presentation that I, as an independent industry analyst, that I would like to give my thoughts based on this Qualcomm slides, which is key to wireless revolution is adaptive intelligence. The incorporation of AI that operates autonomously between the device or end network across all protocols and layers. At the device, adaptive intelligence applies AI and contextual awareness to determine how to improve the user experience based on real-time application requirements and local conditions. At the network, adaptive intelligence includes the convergence of AI and the continuous integration and continuous delivery paradigm to more smartly manage networks under unique circumstances in real time. Now, at the heart of 6G's transformative potential is the intent to build upon the AI work done for 5G Advanced. AI techniques offer a powerful solution to overcome challenges in wireless communication, such as optimizing for channel nonlinearity, which arises from the complex nature of radio wave propagation. And the era of wireless AI for 5G began in 3GPP release 16 with the introduction of the network data analytics functions, NWDAF, as a part of the core networks enablers for network automation. Release 17 introduced new features that further augmented machine learning capability in the 5G RAN. With the first release of the 5G Advanced Standard 3GPP Release 18, 5G began the study of how to further include the device by focusing on evaluating the AI models and frameworks that can be seamlessly integrated into end-to-end wireless systems. Release 19 will provide specification support for a general framework of AI and machine learning for air interface, and this will enable the integration of AI into various aspects of 5G Advanced, including beam management, positioning, and mobility optimization as well. The initial studies will also be conducted to identify and evaluate potential use cases for AI in 6G, with more to come in Release 20 and the future AI native 6G platform as well. Now, it's all about realize the robust coverage and performance with adaptive machine learning based transceivers. Adaptive intelligence in 6G will significantly enhance the wireless connectivity by employing adaptive machine learning based transceiver chains, which will power the next gen air interface. By leveraging AI ML algorithms to optimize signal processing, those transceiver chains will improve signal to noise ratio and power efficiency. And this technological advancement enables broader coverage and superior performance, even in challenging propagation environments. AI ML based techniques are key to solving the complexities of 6G wireless communications with capabilities like advanced error protection and adaptive code rate designs. By dynamically adjusting transmission parameters based on real-time channel conditions, these techniques mitigate signal distortions and errors, ensuring reliable data transmission, and the ability to adapt to changing environments enhances user experience and network efficiency. Now, this is quite interesting where digital twins, which are virtual representations of physical systems, are emerging as a powerful technology for operating reliable, efficient, and scalable networks in 6G. And they provide a comprehensive understanding of network behavior enabling real-time monitoring, analysis, and decision-making. In 6G networks, digital twins leverage AI to model complex network components and behaviors, and these models can predict network performance, identify potential issues, and optimize resource allocation, ensuring reliable connectivity for users. Moreover, digital twins enable efficient network management by providing insights into energy consumption and network load balancing, facilitating resource optimization and cost savings. And the fusion of digital twins with AI empowers network operators to reach in parallel levels of scalability in 6G networks. AI algorithms can sift through immense data from digital twins to pinpoint patterns and trends, enabling proactive network planning and capacity management. This guarantees the network can handle escalating traffic to evolving user needs, supporting broadband spectrum of applications and services as well. And lastly, 6G will be a true fusion of connectivity and AI, not just for its technical merits, but for its economics as well. A 6G network will be designed to be adaptive from the start, allowing it to perceive, learn, and respond to its environment in real time. And this will enable new levels of performance, effectively, and reliability that will be essential for a wide range of applications. Adaptive intelligence is a key enabler of 6G's innovative capabilities, including efficient resource utilization, robust service delivery, user-specific and application-aware adaptivity, and fault-resilient network operation. And these capabilities collectively elevate 6G technology to an AI-native platform, providing significant improvement in flexibility, efficiency, and performance. The network intelligence embedded in 6G ensures that it can adapt to the varying needs and modern or future applications and services. By leveraging adaptive intelligence, 6G technology will extend the capability of wireless connectivity to new dimensions, creating an intelligent, self-optimizing networks, and this will open new use cases and applications, empowering industry and society to fully embrace the digital transformation. And as 6G continues to evolve, adaptive intelligence will revolutionize how we communicate and interact and experience the world around us. Now, Global 5G Evolution as a industry analyst and a community builder, we foster a community ecosystem around the development of 5G applications and technology innovations. Please do follow our LinkedIn page. We offer solutions from branding, thought leadership to lead generations as well. We are actively involved in collaboration with GSMA. We have participated as industry analysts in Mobile World Congress 2024 in Barcelona and Shanghai. We also closely work together with Huawei as a thought leader and international speaker. Most recent last week, we were involved as a panel moderator in GSMA M360 series, South Korea. We also part of the advisory council of Harvard Business Review as well. So we have about like 50,000 subscribers in all in our social media, with 500 plus ecosystem community experts from 57 countries. We have done more than 100 webinars. We regularly post news analyses, articles, and also we publish white papers from the known industries as well. This is the organization that have joined together, participated in our virtual conference, the rules with the various levels, and it's from the universities, mobile network operators, research institutes, startups, verticals, horizontals, and scale up hyperscalers as well. And we have covered the industry, as you can see, various industries here, satellite, broadcasting, research institute as well. And the topics has been very, very wide topics from private network, edge, O-RAN, satellite, XR, metaverse, as you can see here. And this is the last week we have worked together with quite a number of top industry notch experts as well. We have also been involved in various events in Mobile World Congress, and also in locally in Malaysia and Southeast Asia as well. We are also involved in various talks. And that's about it from me. Thank you so much. And let me introduce our next speaker, Alexi Helakari from Kempel, Finland, to present on why automated testing is critical for the success of 5G evolution.
Thank you, Kanesh. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Alexi.
Okay, thank you. So, as Kanesh alluded, the topic is why testing is so important for the 5G evolution, and especially automated testing. So with early 5G SA adopters, we have seen that some major benefits as well as major challenges have arose during their 5G SA deployments. Some of the early benefits are related to cost savings, like simplifying network operations through automation, energy efficiencies from common platforms and consolidated workloads, and removing 5G NSA overheads. Other side of the benefits is the new revenue generating offerings like advanced services for both consumers as well as enterprises, enhanced user experience like end-to-end quality of service and security offerings, and enhanced service creation agility from introduction of third-party developers. These early benefits have not been achieved without any challenges. One of the major realizations have been the need for automated continuous testing while scaling 5G and incrementally bringing new features and services to the networks. As most of us in the industry already know, 5G SA is not yet everywhere. With approximately 60 commercial deployments, most of the service providers have not yet launched 5G SA. Current estimation shows, as you can see on the screen, that 2027 we should have more than 300 commercially deployed 5G SA networks globally, meaning that there is still a long way to go before we have 5G SA and especially 5G advanced available everywhere. With 5G SA deployment, service providers are all unlocking the domino effect of new revenue generating services. At Spirent, we don't see service providers implementing big bang type updates, like deploying the whole release 17 features into their networks at one go. But most service providers are deploying incremental updates and feature sets, meaning that most likely 5G advanced services will also be implemented and launched in small batches rather than in a big bang style. With 5G advanced services like mass market XR, quality of experience, deterministic network performance, and even consumer SLAs might be required for these services to scale. As an example, with deterministic latency and throughput, part of the XR classes compute could be transferred from the headset to the edge, making headsets smaller, cheaper, and more attractive to the consumers also visually. Ensuring quality of experience will also be key for these kind of services like XR, shifting testing focus from traditional KPIs like bandwidth or jitter latency towards a real user experience end-to-end. New services like industrial IoT, autonomous driving with V2X, mass market XR, and others will introduce new complexities, but also new service level requirements that need to be tested and guaranteed under all different conditions. Additionally, these services will introduce new vendors and target to attract new developer communities into the networks, adding to the complexity even more. Even without these new services that I just mentioned on the previous slide, a lot of the 5G SA environments are already today multi-vendor. The CNFs might be in the initial launches from single vendor, but the telco cloud infrastructure or the service mesh might be from a second or a third vendor, making these 5G SA environments already multi-vendor. Then if you add any network function from another vendor, ensuring interoperability and performance becomes more challenging because there is not any more single point of contact if something doesn't work. This is why currently the trend seems to be that many initial 5G SA launches, a lot of the service providers might select single CNF vendor, with the exception of maybe taking some policy functions from a second vendor. This doesn't mean that most of them want to keep relying on one vendor for their CNFs, but they are rather targeting to introduce new vendors in the next phases of the process. These multi-vendor environments, when there are multiple vendors with their asynchronous release schedules and uncoordinated feature support, testing interoperability, performance, new services requires a lot more testing compared to legacy technologies. Updates from multiple vendors and incremental feature implementations will increase the volume of test cases from hundreds to thousands. It will also increase the number of release combinations that need to be tested significantly. Also, patches and fix validation becomes more frequent and requires testing in multiple different layers in these disaggregated networks to ensure that the bug was fixed, that the patch is secure, and the performance is as expected. As part of the process, some of the service providers identified early on while deploying 5G SA that legacy methods and manual testing can only support one consolidated release per year, killing all the agility and speed that was targeted by opening and cloudifying the networks. Also, launching new services became slower than expected and raising their interest towards the continuous testing. As an industry, we are moving more and more towards cloud native and open networks with open APIs, adding new vendors and targeting new developer communities to contribute. With these trends, the need for continuous automated testing is critical for the success and survival of any service provider long term. With automated continuous testing, service providers can keep up with the testing demand, validate rapidly different vendor releases, and ensure interoperability challenges and security gaps are identified and rectified in the lab instead of finding these problems in the live network. Continuous testing needs to cover all aspects from nodal testing, where you test in isolation, to adjacency testing with neighboring components, and all the way to end-to-end, including quality of experience. Testing also needs to consider all the different layers from cloud infrastructure to all the way to the actual application or service, and all the layers between. With this kind of dynamic continuous testing, also infrastructure needs to be automated. Test beds need to be created on demand automatically with the right software builds and configurations. In many cases, we have seen that companies might be focusing on test automation, but forgetting the infrastructure automation, which is critical foundational component enabling fully automated continuous testing pipelines. Covering resiliency, security, performance, capacity, compliance, and ultimately end-to-end quality of experience, that is not sustainable with manual testing and static test environments. We have proven with our partners and customers that they can reduce their regression test cycles from weeks to hours with automated continuous testing. This seriously increasing their speed and agility while saving cost for them. Continuous testing lays the foundation to ensure you can keep up with the fast-paced evolution of mobile networks and ensures you can rapidly deploy new services to the market while you make these changes and updates to your network. We as Spirent, we are continuously working with the largest network equipment manufacturers and leading service providers in the world to find together best ways to automatically validate the telco cloud itself, to continuously keep testing different functions and services across the life cycle with security efficacy in focus in all these different phases. Via automation, some service providers are working with us to transform their labs and infrastructure to enable widespread collaboration within the companies, increasing asset utilization, increasing the speed and agility even further, while lowering the cost through sharing, and ultimately targeting to enable monetization of their labs and infrastructure. With the high level of automation for both testing and infrastructure, you can realize additional energy savings as well by better utilizing the assets, reducing the footprint you need for your testing, and automatically managing the power of your infrastructure while not utilizing it will provide you additional energy savings. Because of these different aspects, the compounding complexity, the faster pace, and changing business models of these new services, automation is mandatory to keep up with the rate of change. Otherwise, with manual testing, it's not possible anymore. That's what I had today. Thank you, Ganesh.
That was fantastic, Alexi. Really appreciate, right on the dot. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. That was a great presentation. Let me introduce our next speaker. Just 1 second. Oops. Alexis Fabricol.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Alexis Fabricol from Plaisir, France, to present on pushing boundaries in VR video creation, processing, and distribution.
Yes, thank you, Kash. So I'm here to talk about a bit of a use case that has been talked about just previously, like XR is in the development of immersive video and how the 5G technology can help this development. So we are here on the creation, processing, and distribution side. So the whole production chain. So quickly, why I am here. I'm the co-founder and CTO of a startup working on the development of immersive video. We are doing the capture and distribution of this content for VR headsets. I'm from the French Institut Polytechnique de Paris in Palaiseau, and I've been to Berkeley this spring in February to see how the Vision Pro from Apple is greeting in the Silicon Valley. So what did I just see there? I see a bunch of people buying these headsets to try to do new things. With all this kind of developers and graphics, the question was, what could be the killer app for the Vision Pro? And after a few months from the users' feedback, it seems like immersive video is one of the main use cases for now, because the quality is now very convincing. So what is immersive videos? Immersive videos is not actually virtual reality, because virtual reality implies that you have interactivity. Like a sixth of experience is where you could move and interact with the persons you can see in front of you. So if you are doing a 3D avatar in a 3D environment, that could be an immersive and interactive experience, but it would not be immersive videos. If you are shooting with cameras, just like the content you can find on Apple TV, that are called immersive videos, you cannot interact, you cannot move in the space, so you're just a 3D experience. It can be 180 degrees up to 360 degrees. And what we have seen for many years or 360 degrees experience because producers were like, if we can do 360s, just do it. But now we have a lot of feedbacks from users, and most of them just say that they are not particularly interested in having a content happening in their back, and 180 degrees is enough. So this is a new format. You now have new cameras to capture it, but a quick example of Apple take on the different kind of immersivity. So you can have a whole 360-degree experience or 180, as we said, but you can also have in between panoramas, and you can have 3D video. We know that for a long time, but it is not immersive video. The difference is in the field of view. And you can find immersive video in 2D, but now it is most used to have 3D, even though Meta is still doing a lot of 2D content. So the question is how to capture such content. I will give very few tips on how to capture. Just as I said, 360 is not the goal. You can do it, but it is way more expensive to have good quality, and the stitching of the different cameras you use is quite complex. But to do 180 degrees, it's way easier and affordable. You now have different manufacturers like Canon that is offering very good cameras for that. And you can have 3D. So I would advise to stay to 180. And if you could do stereoscopic, because 3D is very appreciated from the users. On the audio side, I would recommend for an easy way to capture the sound is to use Ambisonics mic, because you will have a true spatial audio. However, if you can have the impulse response of the venue from the point of view where you put the camera, you could recreate the true spatial audio in a 3D simulation if you have like close mic. And if you can do a mix of both, it would be the best of both worlds. On the spatial audio side, we have a lot of new formats to choose. Dolby Atmos is one of the most well spread now, and they have a strong partnership with Apple, and Meta Quest are also supported Dolby Atmos. Ambisonics is not very used. In the distribution, it is more to capture, so you have to transcode it. But we have challengers like MPEG-H and IMMF to challenge Dolby Atmos. MPEG-H exists for a few years, but IMMF is very new from Google Samsung, and I'm quite excited to see where it is going. So how could 5G help to create such content? Because so far we have seen very few contents of immersive videos. One of the main points and benefit of 5G, according to me, is for remote contribution and remote production. Because if you want to have content from all over the world, and for instance, I just put an illustration of Circle, which is a French company production that is going in very far places, like in Lapland under the Northern Lights, to film artists. So obviously you don't have fibers there. Even if they shoot in 4K, they didn't have a very, very good quality. If you can use 5G to remote contribute the content, for instance, with ST2110, you could have very, very good quality even in such places. However, the bitrate is very high. We are not talking of HFR like in cinema with 48 frames per second. We are at least at 60 or even 90 frames per second. And for the resolution, it is not 4K UHD, it's at least 4K immersive because the ratio is about 1:1. It is a square ratio for immersive content. So, for instance, on the Apple TV, you are around 4,300 pixels square. And you have competitors that are doing even higher resolution, like 8K per 8K. So you have obviously very, very high bit rates. So if you want to have remote contribution, you need very high bandwidth, and 5G could provide that. So we have high expectations, of course, on the filming gear, but that's things that Canon and so on are working on. And this is pushing forwards the adoption of new codecs. We will talk about that just after. And so the bandwidth is needed for remote contribution, but also it will be needed for end users if they want to have the good quality of the content. So here is an example of the remote contribution of a production company in Lapland. So we could also use AI for different aspects, and we will see that 5G could help on that. AI is already used for upscaling. It is very mature for images and kind of mature for videos. And temporal interpolation help to have high frame rates, but it is good, but not yet perfect. And another field of research is spatial interpolation to kind of offer a simulation of a 6-dwarf experience. But this is very new researches. And on the encodings, I said that it is pushing forward the adoption of new codecs like AV1 and VVC for 8K content, of course, but with Apple, we saw that the multi-view extension of HEVC could be very interesting. And MV-HEVC is a codec that is very promising to achieve good quality in the video. So I said that there is some other providers of immersive video than Apple TV. You have Explore POV and Immersive India. I compute some of the bit rates. So Apple TV is the only one to allow streaming. So they are streaming at 50 megabits per second. This is very impressive when you see the qualities they managed to have. But if you download the video to have the true qualities they want you to see, it is around 1 gigabyte per minute. So we are talking about more than 100 megabytes per second to have good quality. And that's what I said about the need of high bandwidth for end users. So if you don't have fibers at home, 5G will help, because a lot of places in France will have like a good access to fiber, but it is not the case everywhere. So thanks to 5G, we will be able to spread immersive videos around different places. And edge computing will help to increase the resolution. For instance, you could have AI models running on edge, and you will help to decrease the latency, because this will be my last slide. You can see now more and more shared experiences even to consume immersive videos on the Apple TV with the arrival of new photorealistic avatars, and you can share the viewing with friends, but to interact with them, you will need a low latency. So the low latency is not crucial for the content if it's not a real-time event, but to interact with your friends, you have this need. Thank you, Ganesh, for inviting me.
That was a brilliant presentation. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Alexis. Now let me introduce the next speaker, Fuad Abinader from Manaus, Brazil, present on advancing beyond 5G with Open RAN, the insights from the Embrapii CPQD Excellence Centre in Open RAN. Over to you, Fuad.
Thank you, Ganesh. Let me know if you can see my slides.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Father Binader. I'm a technical coordinator for XCON at CPQD. And today we're going to share some insights we have on how Open RAN can help advance and beyond 5G. So first, I'd like to explain a little bit who we are. So why we shall have insights to share. So CPQD actually is the largest ICT R&D center in Latin America. We were founded in 1976 as the R&D branch of Telebras, which was the public national telecom operator. And then after the privatization process in 1998, it became its own private non-for-profit organization. And we actually working with operators all over the continent, Latin America. And we offer telecom products, research services, and also we have certified labs for compliance testing according to local Anatel regulations. And yeah, so CPQD explores a broad spectrum of telecom related areas. So of course, we are mentioning here wireless, optical communications, and others, but also related fields like AI and sensor systems. So CPQD also has a large experience in developing 5G network technologies for the private network sector, which derived in our very own 5G core product, C2N. We also have a very large program called Open RAN Brazil, composed by 3 phases. Right now, we are in the middle of the second, started third. It's involving multiple Brazilian institutions spread all over the country. And the idea is to create this multi-site distributed Open RAN community testbed, which is already in place and expanding, where we are developing competences, enabling startups to do the prototyping and conducting research. So building up this proof of experience, the Brazilian government selected CPQD as the Excellence Centre in Open RAN, which we call XCON, and with a combined grant from one federal and one state of São Paulo, Embrapii and FAPESP. We have a combined grant of around $25 million to explore over the course of 3.5 years, 5 line of actions, including, of course, R&D projects aiming at developing the ecosystem in Brazil, HR training and education, also attraction creation and acceleration of startups related to Open RAN, the developing of an Open RAN ecosystem with the Technological Association, and also the certification of the South American OTIC. What is the South American OTIC? So South American OTIC will be the first open test integration center in Latin America. And as you can see, I could barely say it's the first in the South Hemisphere. And it will run conformance, interoperability tests, end-to-end performance tests, security tests, and rig tests. We are also hosting the second half 24 Plug Fest, and we're going to continue to do this and other ecosystem-related activities. So it is based on these activities and experiences we have in Brazil and Latin America that bring to you today a few insights I'd like to share and how we think we can explore them to advance beyond 5G with Open RAN. So first, let's give a look at the infrastructure situation in Brazil in terms of interconnection. In terms of transport network infrastructure, Brazil can be considered, let's say, well interconnected. This map on the left shows that we are well connected to Africa, Europe, South, and North America. Looking at these fiber networks, it also becomes clear that there is a large concentration of fiber around the coastal regions, which demographically is where the majority of the population of Brazil resides. But that creates a problem because we also have large populations where I live, for example, in the Amazon, which might not be well connected as such. But there are some initiatives like Norte Conectado, which are spreading thousands of kilometers of high throughput fiber over the riverbeds in the Amazon region, including the Amazon River itself, like we show with big boats like this showing in the figure on the bottom. So things are improving. On top of this, we have a reasonable presence of data center infrastructure in Brazil, which is displayed in the map. Again, with a large concentration on coastal regions, which makes sense, but also creates some issues, as we are going to discuss in a minute. But things are improving, and we have multiple multi-billion-dollar investment in expansion data centers planned over the next 5 years in Brazil. All of this, let's say, creates a heterogeneous infrastructure environment for private networks that aim to use Cloud RAN and even Open RAN-based deployments, including both transport network and regional cloud providers. Because of this, we at XCON, we believe multi-cloud scenarios are going to become the norm for Open RAN deployments of private networks in Brazil for most of the scenarios. On the example on the figure on the left, this could mean, for example, a multi-tenant, multi-cloud heterogeneous deployment, involve an edge cloud running different combinations of 5G Open RAN and core components, which also relies on the remaining of the components running on 2 different regional cloud providers. To tackle scenarios like this, we are exploring automation orchestration to enable, and we believe this allows us to look into the technical requirements such as latency, security policies, and the presence or not of RAN acceleration hardware, different cost structures from different providers, increasing complexity, which is a major issue, and even increased ESG consciousness that now requires energy efficiency to be a native requirement for such networks. So we at XCON, we believe that the efficient automation and orchestration of computational resources on multiple clouds, both regional and border edge, can enable Open RAN-based deployments that can reduce the total cost of ownership, reduce the complexity of operation management, and even improve energy efficiency. Another relevant fact is the lack of coverage in rural and remote areas in Brazil. So on the map on the left, you see the coverage for 5G and 4G. Today, we have about 102,000 4G and 5G cell sites in Brazil. And let's say, if you are in very high density urban centers, you are covered. But however, the moment you leave these highly populated areas, you do not have such good coverage, as you can see on the zoomed map on the center. And we also have a large inequality in coverage between regions in Brazil, and also between different scenarios, urban and rural, as displayed on the statistics on the right, on the map. Take, for instance, the north region where I am, where the Amazon forest is majority located. Although not 95% of urban regions, people in urban regions do have internet connectivity, this drops to a bit more than 70 for rural and isolated communities. This creates a divide. In contrast, in the center-west region, where the most of the agriculture is, this figure for the rural areas improves to almost 89%. So there's a lot of inequality. CPQD is already exploring with partners some enabling technologies, like we are doing, for example, on the Semear Digital project. It's a big project with the government and a few partners. We'll explore enabling technologies for connectivity, sensing, and trackability technologies to enable the connected agriculture. We already have 12 proof of concepts, 12 rural sites where we deploy these combined technologies across all Brazilian regions, including the Amazon. And it is based on this that and the work we are doing in this area that we estimate that to close this gap on the rural domiciles, especially for the isolated communities, we would need about extra 15,000 cells at 3.5 gigahertz, plus 25,000 sites at 600 and 700 megahertz for coverage. However, without universal availability of fiber at the entire country, we believe that we need flexibility and robust backhaul solutions for these cells. So one of the ways we believe this issue can be tackled, especially for these rural and isolated communities, is the deployment of Open RAN sites utilizing integrated access and backhaul, IAB, to lower the total cost of ownership for fiberless scenarios. We are exploring Open RAN-based sites for IAB proof of concepts for the coverage extension and remote sensing scenarios in rural and isolated areas. possibly even combining with satellite links for the mid-haul and backhaul. At XCOM, we believe that a combination of IAB and Open RAN deployments can, in fact, lower CapEx and OpEx for the coverage extension and remote sensing for rural and isolated scenarios. This has potential to mobilize the Brazilian ecosystem and even push for promoting new public policies to spread this experiment in 12 sites all over Brazil. So, summing all up, we see that the Brazilian 5G mobile network ecosystem presents several challenges. We bring a few of them here, including heterogeneous transport and cloud infrastructure, and a large coverage demand for rural and isolated areas. At XCOM, we believe Open RAN has an integral role in solving this issue, and we are running a number of proof of concepts on use cases like the automation orchestration for multi-cloud scenarios for private networks, and the combination of IAB and even NTN for coverage extension for rural and isolated areas. Our hope is that we can identify issues and validate Open RAN-based solutions. The focus here will be on lowering the total cost of ownership, simplifying a lot operation management, which is one of the major bottlenecks that Brazilian ecosystem reports, and improving energy efficiency of our Open RAN deployments for the Brazilian scenario. We firmly believe that by sharing the insights from these pilot programs and proof of concepts and feeding back these into the standardization as the, let's say, the Brazilian view for the corresponding standardization development organizations like ITU, 3GPP, or RANWISE, and even with partners in other parts of the world, we believe that this will collaborate with the advancement of 5G beyond traditional use case, let's say in the North Hemisphere, thus actually contributing effectively to connect the unconnected all over the world. With this, I conclude my talk, making myself available for further discussions, and thanking for you everyone for this opportunity. Back to you, Ganesh.
Thank you, Fuad. That was great, fantastic. Really appreciate that. Let me introduce our next speaker, Antonio Castillo from Munich, Germany, to present evolution of mobile communication standards, non-terrestrial networks, interoperability.
Thank you, Ganesh. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So thanks very much for the invitation. And I think it's a great opportunity to share our views on the evolution of mobile communication standards. And it's great to have the presentation after Fuad, which I think is a great link here. So I'm here today to speak about the evolution of the satellites, and the standards in 3GPP. And I do this also as part of expert course that we do, that we do in the MICM, so Mastering Mobile Communication Engineering. So I'm happy to share here some of the views with you, and happy to also speak later on in the Q&A. So basically, today, after the huge development of mobile communications, the industry or some voices in the industry are sharing the view that we are more or less at the end of the road, so to say. Some statements like the former president of the Institute of Engineering and Technology, William Webb, which in his book speaks about this and mentions that actually beyond 10 megabits per second on mobile phones or 50 megabits per second on fixed broadband, faster data rates are no more necessary. And he shares many graphs and studies seeing that the amount of data that the user needs is starting to peak at 25 gigabytes per month, and also how the growth is diminishing. So those are quite interesting facts that tell us, that maybe the bandwidth is not anymore the key driver for future networks. So other factors will be more important, like, for example, latency or jitter or all these other factors that actually impact the experience of the users. Also in this work, he's mentioning one of the main, maybe remaining points to be addressed by the industry is ubiquity, you know? So the users who have connectivity probably have the connectivity they need, but they don't, many of them, which are placed in remote locations, so when we go away from the main centers of population, then are missing this connectivity. You know? So what can the industry do to address this? I also brought here some extracts from the Qualcomm roadmap, like you did, Kanesh. So I think they do a great job of synthesizing how the standard is developing. So as we see here, we are very much focused on the release 19, which is bringing different points together. On one side, closing, finalizing, and including some more functionality that should be part of 5G as understood by the 3GPP and GSMA. As you see here, well, it was also mentioned before, the use of new frequencies, improvements on coverage, also, as you were mentioning, Kanesh, the introduction of artificial intelligence, in more parts of the network, IoT, and evolution of satellites. So all these technologies are being improved and are being better defined in the standard. And at the same time, it's been a bridge to 6G, to the future 6G standards by bringing more innovation, more frequencies, and also what we mentioned here, the ubiquity and connecting more devices. This is maturing. And the idea, of course, is that we can do this transparently with satellites also, which would be part of the networks as the standard base stations are today. And both from the mobile communications industry, but also from the satellite industry, these efforts are being pushed forward. For example, the Seamless Air Alliance is pushing for the use of NTN for aviation. The auto industry is very interested also on achieving connectivity in their cars using 3GPP standards, not linked to any proprietary ones. And also many organizations in Europe are pushing in the same direction. And what are the use cases that justify this effort and this work? Well, I mentioned here several. As you see here, one of them is the aerospace. We have thousands of aircraft flying around the world every day at all times, almost all times. So you want to achieve good connectivity for them. Today we are linked with standard satellite system, which are mostly proprietary. So you don't get this ubiquity of the connectivity. So looking at standardized access, which could both give access to the aircraft from space, from satellites, but also from the ground. Air-to-ground technology, which means using the base stations with tilted antennas so that they can cover the aircraft. And this could be done using the 3GPP standards in a easy way, having aircraft that could be connected the whole time. Another area of great interest for the satellite use of satellites would be and it is today IoT, the Internet of Things, connecting thousands or hundreds of thousands, millions of sensors or different devices, which are all spread all around the world and which don't need a lot of bandwidth, but they need a very small bandwidth and they need to constantly or with intervals share data because you want to monitor something. So this is already nowadays being pushed by many different companies and different constellations are also flying today to give this service. It's growing also. Also with different standards covered by 3GPP and that's also an interesting world on how fast the developments are going forward. But yes, it's not the only use case. Also, for example, I mentioned here the maritime use case. All the ships that are traveling around the world, it's easier for them to install satellite terminals because they have more space in the platform and it's easier for them to have a view of the sky. So that has not been a big problem up to today, but of course, the cost to do so is still high, so to say. And the last part is linking previously with the presentation from Fuad. It's the remote locations. There are still, as I mentioned, many remote locations where connectivity is simply not available. and that could be realized with satellites. No, different ways to do it: trunking, backhauling, comes off the move, as I was mentioning, for the maritime or airborne cases. But also direct to houses or direct to device, ideally, if the capability of the system were good enough to do so. No, I mentioned here, you see on the bottom left graph, I think that's from the AST Space Mobile website, where they mentioned this gap. No, is 3.7 billion of people are not subscribed to cellular broadband. Some of them have access to mobile networks, but not to broadband. 2.6 billion, I think, of them don't even have the possibility to have coverage. So that's still a lot to do. So what's the satellite industry doing to move on this direction and appear as a competent partner to do so with 3GPP standards? Well, the satellite has moved from the traditional GEO satellite, which is placed at geo orbit, 37,000 kilometers, more or less, to constellations. Constellations have the advantage that they are much nearer to the users, hundreds of kilometers, depending on which orbit you use. But have also several disadvantages. No, as you see here, moving from a static base station where you have an installation, where you have a place with energy and the possibility to put equipment there. You move to a platform which is generally quite small, limited in power, and which is traveling at an incredible speed. So you have to take into account that balance of all these factors to give the signal to the user. At the end, you have much better latency because the distance is much smaller, but you have other challenges on how to do this. It's not an easy way, but there are different ways to do it. As you see on the bottom right here, you can have a transparent payload, which is basically an antenna on space, and the rest of the intelligence processing and everything happens on ground. You can have the other case where the whole of the functionality, the regenerative payload, is sitting on the satellite, the whole intelligence is there, the package can be processed up in the sky, and you go to higher OSI layers of functionality, everything in the platform. Of course, that has the problem of complexity, cost, and it maybe cannot be realized for a big enough amount of users. So probably an approach in the middle will be the right way to do it, to put some functionality in the satellite as necessary. And well, how are the constellations doing this? How are the different players going this direction? I brought two examples. One of them is Starlink, as everybody knows, well, incredible achievement by Elon Musk and the company. They have over 7,000 satellites flying today as of September 2024. And they have requested for even more satellites to be launched. The frequencies of use in the Ku band, Ka, depends on which band they are using for users or for gateways. And they are flying at different altitudes, most of them at around 350 kilometers, some of them a little bit higher at 600, but they give a very good service, hundreds or tens or hundreds of megabits per second, depending on the option, and you have very small terminals, as you see here. Still, you need a specific terminal, not traditional terminal, because as you see on the top right, the satellite itself is very compact. You see how they stack them to be launched to space. But then the antenna is not so big. So at the end, in these cases, as you saw, the complexity of having connectivity from satellites is getting to the limits of physics, which you cannot so easily go through. So other approaches, like for example, the one by AST Space Mobile, could have, under my point of view, better future in terms of interoperability with 3GPP networks. In this case, the company is not going to operate apparently so many satellites. They will be a little bit higher, but they will use lower frequencies for the user connection. And they have very clearly established partnerships with mobile operators. So they are very clearly showing that they will work with them to offer coverage with bigger antennas, with bigger satellites, and maybe in a more direct to device friendly way. And with that, well, I hope I could give you a very small view on the satellite, exciting satellite world and the interoperability with satellites. Thank you very much, Ganesh. I'm happy to talk to you later on questions.
Thank you, Antonio. That was very informative. Really appreciate that. Let me introduce our next speaker, August Kirmezi from Herisau, Switzerland, in the topic title, Unlocking the Benefits and Overcoming the Challenges of Industrial IoT in the Oil and Gas Industry.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Let me short introduce myself and my company. We offer end-to-end solution for mostly for oil and gas industries. And the second business point of us, smart metering. Today I want to give short, brief information and already want to discuss with you how we can unlock the benefits of 5G in oil and gas industry, because we already implemented with other wireless connectivities like LoRaWAN or IoT, etc. But I see a feature and already get feedback from my customer that they want to integrate 5G in their future. It's most important part for us, maybe discussed until now, how we can do in future. Definition of industrial IoT means for oil and gas industry, we have very conservative environment, means you have a specific regulations for the refineries or very close in their self. Therefore, important point is to understand what is the next step for supply chain management or what installation of the hardwares or configuration of the software, etc. That's very conservative. Yeah. For 5G, the deployment of 5G networks in the oil and gas industries offers numerous advantages and enable enhanced connectivity. Most more important, improve safety in the oil and gas industry, which is very, very important for the people, for the worker, etc. And maybe last step, we can tell 5G can increase the efficiency. And very important thing is then connectivity in the oil and gas industry. 2 points are very, very important. Low latency, as a 5G is ultra low latency enables so real-time data transmission, which is critical for monitoring critical operations for production or refining, etc. And second one is done massive IoT support, because there are over 10,000 sensors in the refinery, which we need high data frequency and high data collection and already low latency. So the benefits, they are using actually standard sensors or hardwares with cables. Important benefits from 5G or wireless connectivity, we have the flexibility for remote monitoring and without any limitation of data size, etc. For example, with LoRaWAN, you have a limited data transfer, etc. With 5G, we can achieve much more latency and data connectivity. The second one, it's already possible to get more visual or audio data from the hardware, and with LoRaWAN or NB-IoT it's not possible. And we can improve safety and already organize some hazard management very, very well with 5G. So that's important thing, as I told you, remote monitoring and control with transmission is very good, and we can flexibly use our sensors in different locations, for example, and not connected with cable if there is a fire, etc. There is a problem for refinery, but 5G we are flexible and do our remote monitoring and controlling very well, and reduce the operational risk. We can improve the operational efficiency because if we are flexible for data collection, and we can, for example, measure zone 1 for each month, and then go another zone, and then we can install everything in the zone 2, for example, and then we can measure for a while. Then we can collect the data and analyze with AI, etc., and then can improve the operational efficiency. And as I told you, for risk management and safety, just standard sensor, they have cable. If there's a fire, it's a problem. There's a fire maybe in electrical cabin, and then you have no connection, etc. With 5G technology or with wireless connectivity, we can offer more safety and already safety from process and already from worker. The scalability and flexibility. Scalability is also an important point of the oil and gas industry, because you have production of billions dollars per year, and then production lines or pipelines, etc. There's some challenges if you have to install or implement 5G connection. You have to think about how we can scale the process in the near future, because you have no possibility to get a test pipeline or second pipeline just for your POC or for installation. This point you should think about at the beginning. I told you real time. I can go faster. So challenges is very important. Today you can find old refineries, very metallic, very old technologies. For example, manual valves, just mechanical things. And if you track or want to monitor the position of the valves or gas leakage in the environment, you have very high cost for infrastructure upgrades at the beginning. Therefore, needs to be calculated at the beginning very well. Security, we are talking about for cybersecurity things, etc. We already done for our customer penetration test for our platform. The second point is very important for refineries. Mostly, we have to implement private networks or on-premises, etc. But already ensure the cybersecurity things in the refinery. And latency is not equivalent for modern IoT devices, as I told you, as a more seamless interoperability between old and new technology poses a significant challenge for the refineries. If you want to install valve position sensor, wireless valve position sensor, and it should be calibrated. And if you have old equipment, mechanical things store, and it is difficult to do your job very difficult. I can maybe set a combination later like this. That is one point that I explain you. If we can collect the data, we can analyze with AI or transfer to the SCADA systems, but this is an IT with existing IT system to implement this little bit difficult if you can build up everything new. And that's cost cost topic that we have to calculate at the beginning. Yes, calculation. Yeah. So we need partners. We need, for example, products with ethics certified for hazardous environments and already 5G solution provider, etc. And then we can do and overcome these barriers for future success. That's much more important for us. You can contact us if you can work with us together. We have the customer, but we are systemic integrator for our customers, and we can work that better and then overcome the barriers for future success. So vision is, as I told you, we implemented LoRaWAN and the IoT in the future. I know from two of my customers, they want to implement 5G because low latency, higher bandwidth, and then high data capacity, etc. And with AI possibility, etc., is very important for oil and gas industry. So I hope it was very clear from my side. For any question, maybe we can discuss each other.
Thank you, August. Really appreciate that. Fantastic. Let me introduce our next speaker, Dr. Hanani Haumina from Paris, France, to present on AI and connectivity.
Hi, I will share my slides. Do you see my slides?
Yes.
I see them moving. They are moving.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Okay, hi, good morning, good afternoon. So I have found 800.ia a year ago. It's an ad tech company driven by the mission to make a positive impact on people and on empowering them, in fact, to live more sustainably. So since a year now, we have developed a number of patents, European patents, about our solution. And we are in live test now by connecting 5 buildings in order to see to what extent this solution is really changing the life of people and also giving the mission it is meant to. What we are really doing, we are tackling the every door direct mail advertising. That is an efficient way of communicating between businesses and also institutions. So businesses that are using direct mail advertising start to get the negative impact on their reputation and costs due to the climate change, global awareness, and net zero regulations all over the world. It is more pronounced here in Europe and North America, but I think all over the world we have the same considerations about the climate change. So they need a solution that continue to leverage this efficient channel while upholding the environmental sustainability at the same time. So when we are talking about this channel, we are talking about a conversion rate or efficiency of 4.4% compared with the digital solutions that are meant to be more sustainable as of now. That is 1.2% of efficiency. So we can imagine to what extent this channel can continue to be appealing, but it's also very polluting because it is using a lot of papers. Only in Europe, we are talking about 60 million trees cut each year to serve this industry. So we make the mission to offer a solution that is designed to seamlessly deliver this unaddressed every door direct mail advertising to residents with precise home location, personal data free, and carbon neutral through a powered technology that is powered by patents that we are continuing to launch in our solution. So how we are going, so these 3 points are the key pillars of our solution. So precise home location, personal data free, and carbon neutral. It seems like a myth because like all solutions that are based on advertising or using advertising as a channel is not that. And all the solutions are really trying to take more personal data greedy, are very polluting because they are using AI and many solutions, and even taking people to stay more often in the applications and solutions in order to deliver their advertising and leverage the personal data in order to target. So it is possible with 800.ia is possible. It's a good news. So how are we doing that? For the first pillar, so we start by connecting, by using IoT connectivity. So smart cities are one of the key sectors that are benefiting from ubiquitous connectivity and artificial intelligence. I see the other presentations of my co-panelists, and I see that oil industry are are making good and great use of this technology. We can also do it for lifestyle and life environment, as we are doing. So in smart city, buildings are not just passive structures. They are actively communicating, sending data and receiving data. So currently, most of data that is exchanged focus on control or control and asset management, like video surveillance, resource management, power grid management, and so on. However, the buildings can also gather data about the surrounding environment and sharing it and informing also the residents about the environmental changes, making them more aware of their extended environment rather than like a silo in their building and so on. This can enhance residents' daily life and also having a real time providing it. So 3GPP and BIoT, and in broader way, IoT stands out as a good technology in order to leverage that. So because it is precise and it is giving to us the density of connecting all the buildings in a very good way, no matter if it is IoT or in application where we need more data and more bandwidth for it. So we have developed a process and methodology to harness the power of widespread methodology and connectivity, creating one of the most efficient and environmentally friendly channels of communication with residents. So we are using connectivity by connecting buildings rather than people in order to gather data and share data with the residents that is relevant and precise. The second pillar of our solution is personal data free. So it is our commitment also. So this approach ensures an unbiased data sharing without relying on collecting personal information and precise personal information, and also by prioritizing privacy. So we enable effective advertising and data sharing while avoiding any intrusive way, and also by being inclusive. The solution could be for all businesses and institutions of all sizes and residents, whether it's residents are not spending a lot of time, in fact, to get the information, like 10 minutes of being online or on social media in order to have like relevant and meaningful information about what is happening around them and how they are going to behave when they are going to get out of their homes. So it's mainly that. Also, this relevance and efficiency, we make it by leveraging artificial intelligence models that categorize data in different way than what we are seeing now. So there is slow data, fast data, and clear channel that is the solution, in fact, or mainly the mailbox like hostile delivery information. This differentiation allows us to apply special algorithms tailored to each data category to ensure the efficiency and also the computing and the energy data efficiency. We are not going to collect any data, and we are not going to analyze any data the same way. In fact, each data has its own way to collect. So this efficiency should be in the core definition of our solution. So 800.ia is having this data management that is not focused on how long users are spending in our platform, but rather on the type of information they receive and the environment or the mindset when they are receiving this information. So this approach is totally shifting the focus from personal data and user time to environmental data and user attention. And this transition allows us to deliver more meaningful and contextually relevant experiences to people while keeping the carbon neutrality of this solution, which sounds like a myth. But in fact, it may seem like very elusive with all this AI we are using in order to deliver that kind of information. Is it really possible to be like carbon neutral for that kind of solution? It is possible because we are thinking it from the ground, from the beginning, with the, an awareness. Any application for time being should be conscious, environmentally conscious, with two key ways. The very first way is the awareness on its own footprint. And this is from the deployment and from the construction. It should be aware of the footprint, continuously evaluating the balance between the energy consumption and the benefits it is delivering all time. And the second way of being conscious is on its physical digital environment, understanding and adapting to external factors such as power grid, cloud computing infrastructure, service networks, and so on, to operate efficiently and sustainably over time. And this is not like one regularly two years check or anything like that. It each day, each time, at each it's a decision, like continual decision process that is going with the solution. Only with that way that we are not thinking like reducing footprint and offsetting footprint. We are just cleaning footprint at exactly the same time as we are producing it. And this is key. So this dual awareness will ensure that the digital solutions remain both effective and environmentally possible. And it is what we are trying to do with our solution 800.ia. Thank you so much.
That was awesome. Thank you, Dr. Anani. I really appreciate that. And let me introduce our next speaker, Mr. G. Saravanan from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, to present Hospital, a paradigm shift to hospitals. Over to you, Mr. G.
Hi, thank you so much. I thought there was one more speaker before me, but anyway, hold on, yeah, let me load the slides. Yep, loading right now. All right. I hope my slide is visible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. All right. The title is Hospital, a paradigm shift for hospitals. I know hospitals are a bit of a play of words, right? So the word doesn't exist as of right now, but that's what we're all going towards actually. All right. Before I give the word away, let me just move on further. The current hospital model, as we know, as we understand, or as we recognize, is a broken model. And the reason is, I mean, there are so many models. I see so many reasons why. The labor cost is ever increasing. So when I say labor cost, I'm talking about the consultants, the doctors, the nurses, every other employee. So and to cater for the ever increasing patient traffic, we need more and more workers. We need more and more doctors, and the market, the supply cannot keep up with the demand. That's the truth. Hence, we lack manpower. We can never have enough manpower to man and to run hospitals. And most importantly, and surprisingly, we think that doctors are the most in demand. Actually, the truth is no. The resources which we need the most is actually the nurses. And no country can actually currently supply enough nurses to opening more beds, opening more hospitals, regardless whether it's private sector or government sector. And to add to the injury and make things worse, throughout the world, the population is aging. Aging, yes, that's a good news. That means we are living longer and longer. But together with that also comes a problem, which is that we need more care as we are more aged. And that actually stresses the ecosystem even further. And obviously, with more people around, with lack of manpower, with a huge demand, the whole healthcare model or healthcare financing model, or rather the funding model, is also unsustainable due to many reasons as above. On top of this, I'm sure we know, in every single country, the insurance premiums are ever increasing. All this makes the hospital model become unsustainable as a broken model. So where do we go from here? If you look at our patient traffic, patient demographics, the cardiovascular diseases, the diabetic cases, the heart diseases, this makes up more than 55% of the premature deaths we have actually. NCD stands for non-communicable diseases, where all the diseases are actually categorized, right? More than 41 million deaths are actually because of NCD, and that's about 71% of deaths globally annually actually, right? Now, surprisingly, 12% of those people who die in their sleep, they just simply pass away because of oxygen saturation, the lowering of the oxygen saturation. These are all the problems, right? The hospital use case simply means is that you bring the care given by the hospitals into your house. And we in the healthcare industry, we believe that this can be done. It's a very, very possible technology, very possible service which can be done only with the help of 5G. There are various reasons and various use cases for this. And number one would be the wearables. Simply by using wearables, by keeping your doctors informed, by keeping the hospital informed, by providing alerts back to the hospital, and various other use cases as displayed here, we can make the healthcare services which is currently being provided at the hospital, provided at your house actually, right? And most people will say this is just a remote medicine, it's just a virtual consultation, but actually it's beyond that. Some people will say that it's actually a remote patient monitoring, but together with the patient monitoring, you can couple up real-time monitoring, like I mentioned earlier on. 12% of patients actually pass away in their sleep. It takes about 2 to 3 hours for the oxygen to lower down from 99 or 98% down to 79%, where it touches the danger zone for the patient. So within these 2 to 3 hours, while the patients are asleep, alerts can be sent, location can be located, ambulance can be dispatched to save the patient. So just imagine if you can save 12% of the annual deaths around the world. Beyond that, I'll just showcase something else. This is an actual device which is currently being deployed in Gaza, Palestine, actually, as we speak. This device is less than 10 kilogram, and this device is the size of a briefcase which you can check into the cabin, right, in your plane. With this device, which obviously requires 5G to be operated, you have the following diagnostic equipments built into the device, which can be hand carried. You have the spirometer, ultrasound, EKG, scale to test your vision, multi-scope, even your pads which actually does scan of X-ray and keeps the image and transmits the image over 5G, stethoscope, your vital sign, X-ray machine, the bone density machine, concussion testing. All of this can be compressed into a single luggage size, which we can check into the cabin, right? So this is where we see, this is another image that shows that what can be done with this briefcase actually. So with all this, we strongly believe that with the strength of 5G, you will be able to bring the hospital services into your hospital, into your house, right? I can go on with this. There are other solutions. This is more of a monitoring device. It can even utilize your day-to-day, your Garmin, your Apple, which triggers alerts into your hospital, right? And going forward, there's also another financial model whereby this can incur huge costs for the hospital or the clinics to actually do the procurement. Even that's not a case, because hospital can be provided as a service to many of the clinics and hospitals out there. And this can be purchased as a OPEX rather than CAPEX. Okay. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
All right, that was brilliant, Mr. G. Saranand. I really appreciate for your presentation, well informative. Let's have 10 minutes among all the speakers. Would you mind to switch on your cameras? Let's have a quick discussion about what I've actually posted earlier. The question was very straightforward. How do you envision the role of AI in shaping the evolution of future generation networks, including the 5G towards to 6G? What are the key technological advancements that will be driven by AI? I think this is quite interesting to see from the speakers, your thoughts in this sense. Let me share you on my recent conference in M360 series in APEC, Seoul, South Korea last week. I think there was a lot of discussion was going on, for example, in the manufacturing sector. A lot of stuffs were discussed regarding about AI-enabled networks, the machine visions, how it can improvise the industrial IoT, and so on and so forth. But there was one key issue in terms of the right business case, business models to kickstart those industries. The government have actually supported by giving grants to all those factories to kickstart with the use cases, so on and so forth. But then after that, it was halt because there was no proper business case because they were not really keen in terms of the SIM card and all that. So there is one part of those challenges. But putting that aside, I think in terms of the AI, there's a lot of things can be done. For example, network automation, like zero touch operation, self-healing, predictive maintenance is another area. The security is another area that the AI can play a much more role. I think few days ago there was a cybersecurity attack into the mobile network operators in USA by a group of Chinese hackers. And this is not the first time. There's been many times such kind of vulnerabilities happening. Obviously, every time there's a new defensive of security measures has been taken, there's always a way of the hackers will find out to break through such cyber securities, right? So I think AI plays a lot of role in terms of what they call to protect in those areas. Anomaly detection is one of those example in AI that has been introduced for cybersecurity. So with that, I would like to invite any of the speakers. It doesn't matter. The AI can be, in the vertical or in the hospital, one example, or in the IoT, or even in the video creation, industrial IoT, or end-to-end satellite. That's another area to see how the AI plays a role. Anyone wants to take this up?
Wait, what's the question actually, Kanish?
The question was, how do you envision the role of AI in shaping the evolution of future generation networks?
I'm happy to share a couple of comments if you want, Ganesh.
Yes, sir, please.
So at the end, I see artificial intelligence. It's an optimized algorithm, no, to treat some problems, and it will have, of course, impact in so many different areas that as you mentioned, no. In our case, and looking a little bit at the mobile operator networks and the complexity of the networks, I see a lot of potential to use it to optimize networks, no, to make their operation cheaper for the operators, to optimize many parts that today are done by hand or by an operator. So all those parts can really benefit, I think, the optimization and the lowering of the cost of a lot of the industry. We saw in the Mobile World Congress, many people were mentioning 2 years ago, everybody was speaking about AI with no examples or no clear applications. This year, the explosion on AI was huge. Everybody was talking about AI and they were showing applications for it on how many things you can optimize. And I believe probably next year, more concrete examples will come where you can show really with numbers, know how much better some applications of AI are compared to the traditional ones, and some where AI will not make any sense, of course. So we will understand better, I guess, how it is going. And I hope this peak of, a buzz about AI will not explode, but probably will find some ways where it can continue working and be developed.
Thank you, Antonio. And I noticed that there's a lot of video makers, for mobile network operators, marketing campaigns are so critical, and that's where they are using this video generated AIs, image generated AIs, and a lot of hyperscalers has been introducing this video makers and image makers designs. Microsoft is leading that sense. For example, Mid AI Journey, Runaway is another application. I see a lot of this video content, right? There's a lot of AI has been taking a role. But the concern is that on the backbone, in the infrastructure, whether they are also aggressively taking as much as the application. I think, Antonio, thank you for keep putting a light on the network optimization. I think that is really key where the AI plays a strong role.
Yeah, I'd like just to agree with Antonio. First of all, we should not forget AI is a tool. And for some, let's say, applications, we do have optimal algo solutions which do not involve AI. But sometimes you are happy with not necessarily optimal solution. Maybe a good enough solution that you can scale up could work, then AI has a role. And also, I believe there are two factors that may push this tool, which is one of the set of the tools we have. One is the increase in the, let's say, in the configuration space for running a network. If we look for what we had in 2G, 3G, 4G, now 5G, and beyond, is just exploding the combinations, the deployment combinations, that everything's become more complex. And now we want to run these networks not only for the mobile operators, but also for private networks. So let's say for people who are not really into the telecommunication business, the network is a means for them, not on an end. And then that you need to deal with this complexity space to increase, and AI has a role here. Second thing is, with this with climate change and need for becoming more ESG conscious, there is a need for, let's say, a supervisor that really enforces new policies for being more energy efficient all across the network. This is a challenging task that we are not used to do, let's say. We are driven by cost, not necessarily by being ESG conscious. And that then it needs to be all across the entire network. So maybe AI also has a role here. That's what I see.
Thank you, Fuad. Anyone wants to have your opinion?
I agree on the side of AI for the backbone network, as Antonio said. Sure. And as you said, Ganesh, it has, of course, a huge application on the application side. And I think it could be a mix, like you could also think where you want to use the tool. Like a lot of people think about using AI for upscaling videos, like the NVIDIA solution and so on, but you could have this on the client side, at the edge or in the cloud. And the thing you the thinking about the place you want the process to happen is very crucial, because you could save a lot of bandwidth on your network if you are doing like streaming low resolution videos and upscaling it on the edge if the client does not have the computation necessary for that. That's just what I wanted to share.
That's a good point, Alexis. I think that is the area that I still need to do a lot of investigation in the edge network platform, how the AI can able to help to scrutinize in terms of the bandwidth optimization, right? Because, for example, I think one of the highest rate of IoT devices is the CCTVs. I think that is a huge growth. And in the CCTV itself, how the AI enabled has been taking a lot of effective way in order to store those data, and most of this processing has been taken place in the CCTV rather than bringing the whole data traffic towards to the core network, right? A lot of processing is done on the edge itself, and that's where the edge plays a lot of effectiveness, and how the AI can play a much more role, both in the IoT CCTV and also at the edge platform as well. I think that was a great point you have taken.
That's actually something we are seeing also quite often, no? At the end, in many use cases, you don't need the whole high definition video going from one place to the other. You just want the key information, no? We have seen also that in startups, actually French startups, for example, that do remote assistance, no? At the end, you may need only an artificial intelligence evaluating if someone is asking for help, or if someone is in a situation according to the video that needs help. So you don't need the whole video the whole time. You just need the artificial intelligence to pick for you, no, the data that is relevant, no, to say, hey, this person needs help in this instant, or this picture of this event is relevant because of something. And that way you can save lots of bandwidth. At the end, you don't need 3 megabits per second high definition video going the whole time through the network.
Right. I think quite a number of phone manufacturers are also spending a lot of time in the AI on device. That is another part where I think they have been working very closely with the semiconductor industry, how to improvise the chips to be AI enabled on device as well. I'm not sure how NVIDIA plays a role here, because NVIDIA is more into the GPU platforms. But when it comes to the mobile devices, I think companies like Qualcomm also have actually spent a lot of research and development to make it as a AI on device. Samsung as well, and also other mobile players like Huawei and so on, are spending a lot of time to see the phone. Yes, is getting lighter, it's getting much more smarter. They are moving towards the intelligent network, so obviously the device has to be intelligent enough with this power of AI, because the processing has to be very quick and fast, right? There's so many of applications that is user friendly, should be detected quickly in the device as well.
Yeah, it might also have a role in enabling federated learning usage more broadly, which will be good from, let's say, the security point of view, from the energy efficiency point of view, so that having this AI capability on the device, not only on the network, but on the device, that might help as well. And also, I think there's this topic on the video is one good example. This interplay between the edge, the AI you have for the application, and the AI you have to run the network. So how you share these resources efficiently. Remember, we are putting a lot of energy to running this equipment, and I'm really concerned about the, let's say, energy efficiency of all of this. So this is something that we need to look into as well. But from the device, I think there are benefits from the security point of view, especially from the energy efficiency point of view, but also when you move this to the edge, You're going to need this for the application. You're going to need this for the running the network. And then how you manage this energy efficiently, that's a question.
Oh, yes, yes. Definitely, energy efficiency is a key point. I'm not sure how improvised it's been done for 5G, because I think 5G network is the most consumption of energy. As maybe my 2 cents thought, the energy efficiency was not optimized in the 5G network. I really hope towards to 6G, and I think there's a lot of players are actually working on it on 6G, but it's really challenging, right? Because to take care the whole lot of devices, sensors, connectors out there, it's growing to billions, right? And how to handle such kind of huge growth of sensors, connectors, devices, and also pulling down the energy, to efficient. That is a great question mark.
How I see this, Karesh, also being evolved in the standard, no, is moving to virtualization, no, so moving from hardware to software in more and more functionality in the network, which I think is what's being addressed, and what also the step by step, not all at once, but the mobile operators will be probably doing. It's when they exchange the hardware, they will not do the whole thing at the same time, as mentioned, but start having more flexibility, to implement more and more parts of the functionality of the network in software, virtualized containers. So all this trend, I see this also with the edge computing and the capability to process in more parts of the network, to also do it more efficiently, save energy, because you will have as many instances running, as many users you need, so not necessarily the whole hardware running for one user, so to say. So in this sense, you will have more flexibility, to operate the networks and to give the service that the user is needing, to turn off part of the network when they are not in use. So I see the movement to software, to algorithms, to more intelligent algorithms, artificial intelligence, as more flexibility, lower cost. So at least that's the spirit. It's not easy to define a standard that will do that, and it's not easy to align the whole industry to do that. But I guess that's the direction. That's also for the satellite industry interesting. Also, in terms of the control centers for satellites, how do you integrate them in the networks? How do you do that transparently? How do you do that following the standards and with all these logics in mind? How to go forward on this? So quite interesting future. Let's see where we end up. At least there are clear ideas to follow.
Great point, Antonio. I think a lot of telecom vendors are already moving towards the software virtualization, cloudification, a lot of open source, open RAN, open core are happening right now. Not limiting to the telecommunication industry, even other industries, vertical industries are also moving towards that. One of that is the automotive, the vehicles, right? Cars are moving towards the software. There's a lot of discussions going on the software-defined vehicles, SDVs, where the cars are taking an efficient way to improvise their performance by working with various software applications. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Tesla was pioneering this, and then a lot of EVs cars manufacturers are moving towards the software-defined vehicles as well. Mind that there's an intrusion in the softwares as well. So I think a lot of these automotive makers and the country regulatory are taking some precaution measures on who and how to work in the interoperability of the software, right? Because there's a lot of other players from different countries have some different agenda with the software. So I think this needs to be taken care of as well.
Yes, the move to digital twins, and also digital shadows. Not sure if you I heard this concept in the latest Mobile World Congress also. So not having only a digital twin of your product, but a digital shadow of each of your products that it's outside. I find that incredible that you can get to that detail. To have virtual copies, so to say, of each of the. So everything is moving, yeah, to the cloud, to the virtual world, to the 3D
Yeah.
environment. It's incredible.
Yes. Anyone have anything to say? If not, then I really thank to all the speakers. I really appreciate for your time. Thank you so much. This video will be uploaded on our YouTube channel within a couple of hours. To the audience, I really thank to you all, and please do subscribe our YouTube channel. Each of the speakers will be featured in our Global 5G Evolution page in the coming weeks for at least 1 month. We will feature each of the speaker in our newsletter as well. And I really thank you so much. Appreciate that. And till we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Bye bye.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.